smoke your way, you know I love you and why I respect you. You live the same thing I live, the same thing Dean lives. You have to focus on adding more value to people than anybody else, no matter what the constrictions are. And you just found another way to add even more value, even though you didn't get to be in person with them in this context, and that's why you're prospering.
And we, in 5 weeks, those 5 weeks, everybody, bigger than our entire 2019.
That's incredible.
In 5 weeks. So last couple of questions. So the other thing I did on that couch is I went to the Proverbs, and the Proverb says there's wisdom at the crossroads. Yep. And if you choose to accept that wisdom, you will move forward. If you freeze and don't, you go backwards. So I said, okay, God, where do I get that wisdom? We'll get it from my word. Cool, got it. Get it from other people. Got it. Get it from your
spirit, right? You're feeding your mind and your heart and your spirit when you're doing that.
Yeah, and the last one, he's like, get it from yourself. You got your personal experiences. So I got it from God. I got it from myself. And then I picked up the phone and I called a few people. I called Dean. I called Michael Hyatt. I called Ryan Dice. I called Roland Frazier. I said, guys, I want to know, what is your wisdom for what I need to do at this time? I got coaches. I got mentors. Number 3, you said, I was blown away before we came into here because you were saying, Pete, tell me about how you did this virtual event. Like, Tony, talk about the importance of coaches and mentors, the third question. And a lot of people are asking, who's coaching you, Tony? Like, who's mentoring you? That was a huge question, but talk about the importance of that right now, because those 4 or 5 calls I made were huge, and they constantly checked in with me too. They're like, are you doing what we asked you to do? Don't call us until you do that, you know? Yeah. So.
Well, for me, I mean, it's like I'm privileged that I've been able to coach so many people, but I'm not such an idiot that I think I'm their coach. Like, I have all these people that, like Mark Benioff, you know, I met Mark, who runs the founder, you know, of Salesforce.com. I met him 15 years ago, I think 15 and a half years ago. And he came to 3 of my UPWs in a row. And he's almost as tall as I am. Maybe he's taller, I don't know, but we're about similar height. And, you know, he's in the front row. He stands out like a sore thumb. And so finally he came up and introduced himself to me during a break one time, and I'll never forget, he goes, my name's Mark Benioff, and I'm going to tell you, changed my life. I've been to 3 of these in a row. I was going to say, yeah, you're slow. I was just teasing him. He goes, no, repetition's the mother of skill. It's what you teach. I said, I know. And he says, listen, I'm going to leave Oracle as a result of these meetings. He goes, I'm pushed over the edge today. I'm going to start this company called Salesforce.com. I want you to remember me. I want you to remember what's going on. I want you to come on this journey with me, because he said, we're going to change business around the world. He said, we're going to do, he paused, $100 million in business. You know, I tease him about it now 15 years later. I think they're going to do what, 14, 15 billion. You know, it's just like, so it's crazy. But the mindset that I'm his teacher, like he says, you know, he's giving me credit saying Salesforce wouldn't exist without me. I think that's a bit of an exaggeration, but I'll take it. Right? But the truth of the matter is, Mark is a genius. Mark's not only a genius in business, he's socially driven like I am. He cares about society, about people, and he uses his position to do that. So to me, he's a coach. Peter Guber is one of my dearest friends in the world for almost 3 decades. He's owns the Warriors, owns the Dodgers. We're partners together on the LAFC football club. He's got 52 Academy Award nominations. I mean, he's about his own studio. I mean, he's about as brilliant as any human being I know. So we were on the phone 2 days ago, back and forth. Well, part of this, we own some businesses together, you know, and most of his business is the entertainment business. You can imagine. Can't make a movie. Why can't you make a movie? SAG won't do it. The government, the California state won't let him do it. There's travel involved. I mean, this has been going on for 2 months. In that business, very interesting business, what it does to you. The sports business, what does that do when you got brand new stadiums you got to pay for and some of the highest end players in the world, and you have no season? What do? So we're all talking together. You know, Paul Tudor Jones is one of my dearest friends. Again, I've coached him for 23 years, and he's one of the top 10 financial traders in the history of the world. Also, same kind of guy, right? He's raised, I think, $2.5 billion through Robinhood for people in New York that need it. And they really run those charities like it's a business, make sure they produce results. So he's another brain that I'm tapping into. You know, Ray Dalio is one of my dearest friends in the world. I got to be friends with him because of writing these books, on these financial books, and we became dear friends. And so, like, I don't know a brighter mind when you look at the macro and what's happening. So I can't put across to you how important coaching is. But think of coaching at multiple levels. You may not have access to these people individually. I have that privilege at this stage of my life. But I got to them first by studying them, studying everything about them. And we live in a world today where, heck, you can follow them in social media, see what they're saying, what they're doing. You can read their articles. You can watch YouTubes. I mean, you can absorb that coaching from some of the smartest people on earth. You're doing, you with Pete, whether you're doing these things once a week and you're bringing genius people in here. So I say you got to, that's the part of feeding your mind, but you got to feed your mind with people that have done it. If you went around to start your business and asked people, should I do this? You're probably in business because you didn't listen to most of those people. Because most people say, oh, no, that's not going to work. Or, I don't know if you should try that. It's too risky, but you didn't listen to them. But as you get up in the business and you grow beyond $1 million, $10 million, $20 million, $100 million, $500 million, $1 billion business or more, if you don't listen to people, you're going to go out of business. The things that reinforced you that were good, not listening in the beginning, become really bad in the end. But who you listen to is the difference. Like Ray Dalio looks for people who disagree with him, but he's not going to listen to anybody who disagrees with him. He's going to talk to somebody who has equal skill, background, history of success, who sees it from a different point of view. And that's how he gets himself ready and figures the answers. And you did the perfect thing. When I remember I have a group that coaches therapists, and it's called Robbins Prt. And I remember reading this book by this woman, Chloe Madonis, and I've read so many psychological books over the years, and most of it is so old, right? You got, like, no one would use a phone from 10 or 15 years ago, so why would you use technology for managing human beings that's a century or more old? That's what most people are using. It's not therapist's fault. They're doing old shit. It's been so surpassed, but they don't know it. And so I read these books. I invite this woman, Chloe Madonis. She didn't know who I was at the time. And unfortunately, her son went to Harvard, and he says, listen, here's who Tony is. He knew what I was. He was like, it takes a special intelligence to do this. You should just go to Fiji, see what he was doing. I was doing a little date with destiny. And my goal was to get her to see my work, learn from her, and have her maybe make me films for that industry. And she was so blown away. She was so transformed by the process. She came to me and said, I want to make these films. So we've made them now since 2001, right? So we've made them for like 18, 19 years and trained therapists all over the world. But the reason I'm telling you the story is I remember she came to me and she said, I've never seen anything like this in my life. If your audience has not seen, Netflix has a documentary called Tony Robbins, I'm Not Your Guru. And if you watch that, an hour and 45 minutes, you'll see the core of what I really do, which is my ability to really help people transform. And just watching it, you'll have your own sense of transformation. So many people do. But you watch these changes that look like impossible. She goes, I could never do that. I said, Chloe, of course you could. She goes, no, I can't, but I'll tell you how I make my changes. And this is why I'm telling you this. She said, when I try to solve something with a child that's saying I can't solve it, I expand the circle. I bring in the child and both parents. If I can't do it then, I expand the circle. I bring the child, the two parents, and the grandparents, and the uncles. If that doesn't work, I bring in the school. She goes, I keep widening the circle until the answer is found. And that's basically what you did, Pete. You brought God into your circle, which is always there, it sounds like to me, which is a beautiful thing. But you also went out to very brilliant minds in the area, and you gathered from all of them. And the immersion of all that gave you ideas, stimulated you to come up with answers. So I don't think there's much more important than coaching, because also what a great coach or mentor does too, it's like you said, Pete, they hold you to it, because you can get distracted, you can get caught up in things. And so I think coaching, we're a coaching company ourselves. I mean, I believe in immersion coaching as well. Like, it's great to have a coach one-on-one who visits with you once a week or twice a month or whatever it is, but immersion. It's like, if you want to learn, Italian, the best way on earth is not go to school and a little bit a day, because most people went to college and high school and studied language, can't say half the language, they can't speak it. But if I dropped you in Italy for 90 days with no teacher, you'd be speaking it in 90 days because of immersion. That's the way the brain works. So I think immersion, and I know you do that too, Pete, and you've been doing it online now, immersion along with that, immersion coaching along with individual coaching is, I think, where the power is. And those are the people that are coaching me right now. I've reached out to them and we're helping each other along the way.
I love it. I love it. Last question. This is a really important one. It's been amazing. Like, I've got like tons of notes here. Like, I've got lots of notes. I'm a student today. Like, think about this, guys. Like, the last several days, these people, I've got notes galore. Sarah Blakely and Jesse Itzler and Damon John and all these people. These are my notes right here. Like, I'm just drowned. Like, it's amazing. So Tony, this is really just a two-part question, our final question. So a lot of people out there know, and you might not know this, but I was a youth pastor, and I was youth pastor for 4 years in Hereford, Texas. And I showed up the first day and there were 3 kids there. And I said, what am I going to do to change this? And I started bringing in all of these speakers, nonstop speakers. And one of those speakers, our youth group grew from 300 to 800 kids in 4 years in a town of 12,000 people, because every time somebody spoke, it prompted my kids to want to be better. And it grew and it grew and it grew. And one of those speakers came in whose daughter was the first girl killed at Columbine and completely transformed my dad and I's life. And that was the day I dedicated my life to getting powerful messages out on stages galore. Fast forward a year, my first or second year, I go to a Tony Robbins UPW with my wife in the midst of me beginning my youth pastor journey. This is what you don't know, is at the beginning of me beginning my youth pastor journey. And I actually heard you on stage and I saw that I had greatness. And that's the greatness that I took back to these kids and literally grew this youth group to be really big. And now I've dedicated my life to getting people's messages out on stages, Oprah, the White House, 25,000 stages across the world. Yep. You started your career by being a powerful communicator. And right now, I believe your world has been rocked with stages. My world's been rocked with stages because of physical stages. But will you talk about the importance of communication and taking that one to many? It could be 15, it could be 20, it might get to the day where it's 25,000. But can you talk about that importance? Because we're such big believers in it. And I know that's how your career did. And a lot of people are like, I can't do that right now. But we figured out a way to how to innovate and do it. But will you talk about that? And then I got just one follow-up question on
Sure. Well, first of all, I don't think it's just communicating. Although I can tell you in business, and in your personal life as well, in times of challenge, you need to over-communicate. We tend to under-communicate because we're fearful not knowing what to do. And so Pete, one of the great things that you did is you reached out to people around you and maybe over-communicated, shared what was going on, went for that. But in your business too, you got to over-communicate to your people because otherwise our imaginations in a fearful time and a challenging time go crazy and people become dysfunctional and ineffective. But I also think it's not just being a communicator. I think it's communicating with a purpose. You know, it's like communication just to communicate or because you want to get on a stage is not going to make you grow. What's going to make you grow is a life of service. And I know that may sound corny to some, but it's the truth because I believe motive does matter. You know, people talk about motivation. I'm not big into the word motivation. I hate the term, honestly, because to me, it's like a warm bath. Don't get me wrong. You should have a bath every day. You should have some motivation. But I'm really interested in finding what drives you long-term. Everybody's motivated, right? Some people are motivated to feel sorry for themselves, right? We all have motivations. The question is, are they serving you or not? And so for me, when I look at this, I'm asking like, what makes someone succeed, not only on a stage, but in life, is when you find something that you care about more than yourself, because that brings an energy, that brings a passion, that brings an intensity that goes beyond the normal day-to-day stuff. Like all of us would do more for our children, most of us at least, than we would for ourselves. That's the beauty of human beings. But if you can learn to care for a larger group, like you know, when I was just a single man, I had a mission. And so as a result, I didn't act like a single man. I was trying to take care of so many people. But if you're focused just on you, think of it this way. Life supports whatever supports more of life. You can call that God, you can call it the universe, you can call it life. Since you're part of life, you succeeding, if you really focus on succeeding instead of what's getting in the way, ideas will come to you because you're part of life. But if you're focused on how to take care of your family, not just yourself, and your life is supporting more than your life, you're going to get a different level of insight. So when I suddenly had, 4 children, 3 of them instantly overnight through marriage, and I was, 24 years old and had a 17-year-old son because the woman I married was 13 years my senior, and then 11-year-old and a 5-year-old, and then a child on the way. Holy shit, I had to have a different level of insight to cover all those stages and my business and my own growth and everything else. If you're trying to support a community, and I don't mean like you're telling people that bullshit. I mean, you know what's driving you. And if you're trying to support a community, you're going to get insights you can't imagine. If you're trying to support humanity, I mean, it's like I fed 500 million people in the last 5 years alone through my partnership Feeding America. I'm providing 250,000 people with fresh water every day in India. I want to get it to 1 million because kids die of waterborne disease. It's easy to solve. I'm planting this year 80 million trees, to give you an idea, because I want to make a difference in the environment. I'm not telling you that to brag. I'm telling you because I get insights that I shouldn't have. Like somebody stands up like, how could I know that it was their child and that they were that young and this was, I mean, I don't know how I could possibly know that. You get a different insight when you're trying to serve more than yourself. Motive does matter. So I think my message to you is it's not about getting on a stage. It's about only talking about things that you have a passion for, that you in your soul believe make a difference. And Pete, you do that. I think it's like, Pete, huge part of your success. You and I share a brotherhood and really not just giving a damn, but loving these entrepreneurs who are brothers and sisters, because they're having the courage to do things most people can't do, and they're employing most of the rest of the country and the planet. So that desire to serve has to supersede. And then the second thing is, you've got to prepare yourself. People ask my wife all the time, what's it about Tony nobody knows? She says, nobody knows how hard this guy works. I don't mean just around the clock. I mean, how hard he prepares. I over-prepare for everything. My creative team will work with me and I'll work all night, lay all these things out, and then I get on stage and 90% of it goes out the window because I respond to what's happening right here. But my brain is prepared. So yes, communicate, but communicate only about things that matter to you, that you think you can make a difference. Think about your audience and think about what do they need, do they want, they deserve. My passion, my intensity, you don't throw me a few questions and I'm ready to fucking deliver here, because I know who your audience is, and my brothers and sisters, I know what they're going through. I know we can help them, and I know in a little hour or so, we can at least plant some seeds that they can start to use to grow. So it's like, I'm inspired to help. I have to do shit the rest of my life. I could write off all my companies and move on and do nothing, but what kind of life would that be? It'd be meaningless, right? It's like, lie on the beach all day long. I mean, that's boring as hell. So I know who my audience is. I know what I want to do to serve them. I know what their needs and wants and desires are. I know how to fulfill them. That's why I built the brand that's largest in this category on the planet. That is not ego. That is, this is what I set out to do, and I'm going to do it in a way that absolutely adds more value than most people could possibly imagine. If you can do more for other people than anybody else, you're going to win. So it isn't just communication. It's passion that comes from preparation, that comes from knowing you're here to serve and having found answers that can make a difference. And if you don't think you have the answers, somebody else does. Jim Rohn was my original teacher. I'd go get people to go see him, but I knew there was a way to help make a difference. And so I've never lost that hunger. And I think that's the underlying piece of success in anybody's life. Hunger. Trust me, intelligence is invaluable. I love wickedly smart people. But there's a lot of wickedly smart people that can't fight their way out of a paper bag in a pragmatic way. What matters more, you can have somebody with a lot more skill and intelligence, somebody less skill and intelligence, and they'll crush them because they're hungry and they'll lose their hunger. Means they're driven to grow, to expand, to help, to do more, to be more, to share more, to give more than anybody else around them. And right now, my brothers and sisters out there, if I can call you that, my dear friends, my entrepreneurs, I'm here to tell you, you are needed now more than ever, but you need to find how to get outside of how to make yourself survive and get into where you can start to succeed and thrive. And if you stop there, you're the asshole nobody can stand. Then you take the fact that you succeeded and thrive, and now you can show other people the way. You can serve at a higher level. And whatever stage of development in, there's something you already know you can serve on. So make sure, yes, you communicate, but we communicate all the time. People put shit on social media that has nothing to do with helping anybody but them, sometimes aggrandizing themselves, and there's nothing wrong. We all have egos. I got ego. We all have some ego. But what's driving you most of the time is what's going to determine your destiny. If it's service, you can't fake that. And over the decades, even people don't trust, if you keep serving, sooner or later people start going, holy shit, you're the real thing. And they can feel it. And they're attracted to that because they're looking for someone who isn't here to take shit from them, but is here to give things to them. And I know that's what you're about, Pete. And that's why I joined you today. So that's what this is all about.
Last parting thoughts, because I think you hit it so well. You talked about motive, and as you have this motive to serve people and make a difference, they'll show up and they'll be around and you will change their lives. Like, I know that. And guys, the thing I love about Tony is he changed my life in 2001, but 2 years ago, he changed my wife's life as we watched that documentary of I Am Not Your Guru, as he interacted with one lady on there and transformed a gal who was suicidal. And my wife goes, that guy cares about people. And I said, yeah. And then I got to go behind the scenes and Dean introduced me to him, and I could see how much he cares. When he put his hands right here on my shoulders, I came back and told Kim, this guy doesn't have to do this. He's doing it because he wants to change people's lives. Tony, we have 151,000 people who want to change people's lives. And moms, some for dads, some for pastors, some for executives, some for couples, their message.
Well, when people talk about the economy and the fear they have about the economy and so forth, you have to understand the economy is moved by one thing: influence. Influence. And, you know, you could call that sales, which by the minute we use the word sales, a lot of people fail in business because they have a negative association to sales, right? Because when we think of a salesperson, we think of a high integrity individual who's only there to serve you and love you and look out for you. No, what do we think of? A white shoe salesman, scumbag, saying stuff to get what they want. And unfortunately, even in our industry, brother, you know, there's a lot of people out there that I won't name names, but we all know are just totally taking advantage of people. They just lie and cheat and do everything they can. And I feel so bad when people get taken advantage by them. But I think what you got to understand is you're needed because you have to become a leader. That's a person of influence. If you're not the best salesman for your company, then you don't believe in what you're doing. Your job is to get people to part with their fears and move forward. You know, every time two people meet, a sale's made. Either you sell people and persuade them what they're capable of, or are they selling you what they're not capable of? If you persuade them they're capable of more, you both win. If they convince you what they can't do, you both lose if you have something that's truly a value for their need. So like everything, look around the room you're in right now. You know, in front of me here is a pool table. Behind me here is my desk. There's the planking we did inside here, the carpeting, the building itself, the land that it's on, the giant, you know, the television that we've got here. Everything in here was sold by somebody, right? It was persuaded, it was led. Our economy is driven by influencers. And what we have to do is influence people to not give up and to realize this is winter, but some people ski in winter, some people snowboard, some people prepare, some people get the warm fire with their family, some people have the greatest business of their life in wintertime. You have the greatest opportunity in your life because there's going to be less competition if you can step up and find a way to serve people. And there's something you have, information, ideas, insights that can make a difference for a family, make a difference for a couple, make a difference in somebody's health, make a difference in their business. And if you got something that make a difference, you are needed more now than any other time. You know, I know many of your people here are involved with us at KBB, at the Knowledge Business Network and Brokerage. I got to tell you, the blueprint that we built there, like you, it's like, I'm so excited to see people who in this time can work from home using Zoom and so forth and change lives. I mean, I've spent my life on the road. Last year, I was in 106 cities. I did 18 countries, some of them 2 and 3 times, right? That's not an easy way to live. It's not my preference, but I'm a mission-driven guy and I want to reach everybody I can. But with tools like this today, you don't have to do that. You can do it in a different way. So my prayer for you, my invitation to you is to step up, not just for you and your business and your employees, step up to find something you're going to serve. And if you know who your ideal client is, and you know what they need and want and desire and fear most, then the secret is to not fall in love with your product or service. That's a mistake, because products and services are always changing now. You know, you used to have a Sony Walkman for 20 years. Now, most products life cycle, if it's 6 months, it's a long time. Right? If it's an app, it's somebody's knocked it off within 2 months. So today, it's constant, never-ending improvement and expansion. That's what's going to get you where you really want to go. And so my invitation is find something that you've got and understand. It may not be valuable to everybody, but for somebody it's invaluable, and for probably a large number of people it's valuable, and you can regrow or build or expand or create your business and employ people and provide a great quality of life while you're doing something that's meaningful. Not only making money, of course you can make money, but meaningful. Because in the end, the money goes away. All the toys and shit go away. In the end, you can take away everything I have. You can't take away who I've become as a man, as a human, as a soul. And that's the same for every one of you, my brothers and sisters out there. So let's make this a historic moment that where the size of the enemy determines the power and size of the hero. But all that matters now is what can you control? And you can control what you're going to do today. So figure out what is it your ideal clients need, want, desire, and go deliver that. Keep refining it, get it better and better. If you keep on doing that, you're going to build something you're really proud of. You're not going to have to worry about economics, even in winter. And most importantly, you'll have that sense of meaning that makes life worthwhile.
Yeah, Tony, man, today has been just magical and so amazing for me, like a major treat for me. And what Kim and I want to do, I was sharing with you before, Kim, this group has donated over $750,000 to 4 nonprofits serving small businesses and entrepreneurs. But what my wife, Kim, and I would love to do on behalf of you today is I would love to donate from Kim and I $50,000 to Feed America today, because I know how passionate you and Sage are about that. And so we would love to make that donation in just because you just told me some of the stats before, and I'd like to just be a small part helping those right now. And so that's what we would love to do for you giving us this time today, Tony. You just helped a lot of people. So
well, that's extremely kind of you. And, that's I'm sure you've seen the lines that are around, like literally it looks like you're trying to get into a rock concert to try and get some food at some of these food banks. And we're providing 100 million meals each year. We've been doing it for 5 years, got a 500 million meals. We're going for the billion over what I committed to over 10 years. So that'll help. And I will match your 50,000. So it'll double its impact for you doing that. We'll do it together, brother. And I thank you for that. And I just want everybody to know, like, we're going to do live events too. The world's coming back and we're going to go where they can do it. So in late August, we'll be announcing shortly, we're going to do a comeback event. If you want to come have a party with us, we're going to do it in Dallas and we'll do it live, 6 feet apart, all the things, whatever's necessary at that time, but we're going to crush it because it's one thing to read about swimming. It's another thing to go swimming. And so the best that we can do that. And I'm going to learn from you, Pete, to do some of these things, more of these online, and the way you're doing them are different than just doing Zoom. Really excited about what you're doing in that area. But it's been a pleasure to be able to visit everybody, serve everybody. And if anybody wants to get Unshakable, you can go to my website and you can get it for free. They'll just send it to you for shipping and handling. It's a look at your personal finances as well, because since I've done well in that area, I don't have to worry about all my companies. I still have concern. I'm still focused on them, obviously, because I care about my employees. We haven't let anybody go yet. And we have 95% less income in most of those companies and the same overhead. We'll have to make changes at some point. But right now, everything I'm doing is focused on that. And you need to be unshakable. So I'm not looking for any money from you. You can go get it at the bookstore. You can buy it on Amazon, or you can get it by going to our website and looking up Unshakable, and we'll send it for your shipping and handling. I just want to do everything I can for people like yourself that are truly working to help other people and creating jobs and creating opportunity. That's how we're going to move eventually through winter and back into a new springtime of our economy and of our lives. So thanks, Pete, for the job you're doing to help so many.
Yeah, thank you. Hey guys, this is what I'm going to do. I'll get with Tony's team and I will host something in August in Dallas, maybe prelude to things. We'll get together as Rise Up World. I'll talk with his team and say, hey, give us some type of code that we can post in the group. I'll host something the day before, and we will go celebrate. Events will be back. Trust me on that. They will be back. We need that human connection, that human touch. So if you're cool with that, Tony, we'll throw a party. Rise Up World, if that's cool with you. So thanks for being with us today, man.
Thank you, brother. God bless to you and your lady, and thanks to everybody out there that I know is pushing through this challenging time.
Thank you.
Hey guys, that was one of the highlights of my professional career, interviewing him, and I'm so grateful. Over here to my left is Dean Graziosi, who connected that interview. And man, the part one, part two, what he shared last week of the three things, the three things that you've got to do, the three decisions that you have to make, and the 5 things that he does every day in his life to own his day. Like if you missed last week, it was powerful. This week was more about the business and coaches and your message and getting it out there into the world. And so I want to know, what was your biggest takeaway on Facebook? We've got 3,000 people watching. What was your biggest takeaway from today? And I want to know what that was. And team, I would love to send a couple of Tony Robbins packages to 3 of the biggest takeaways today that people post down in the comments section, because I want to be able to really encourage folks. And my question is, who's coaching you? Who's coaching you? Who's mentoring you? Who's helping guide your heart and your mind? And it doesn't have to be a person. It can be a resource. It can be a book. It can be a course. It could be just subscribing to somebody's YouTube channel. Like this next guy, I watch his videos all the time because I walk away better after every single one of them, whether it's whatever it is. And so who's your coach? Who's your mentor? Who's a guide in your life? That's one of the homework assignments I'm going to give to you today, is that. That's one. But I'm super excited about this next gentleman, because when I had this burning desire to take something to the world 4.5 years ago, and I hosted my very first live event, and I only got 27 people in the room, about half of them were my family.